All right, today I'm going to be tackling this grass. Now, this grass is gorgeous. I love the seed heads. It's one of the proven winners grasses. It's not feather falls. I don't remember the name, but it's a good mid-sized grass. And it gets these beautiful plumes that end up turning a little bit burgundy. The issue I have with it is it flops. I actually have it tied up right now, so it is not in the right spot. I also think that I didn't prune it in the fall, and I'm wondering if waiting maybe reduced its strength when it came back up. I don't know. That's just an idea that I had. So hi everyone, I'm Lori. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you'll click subscribe and follow along on my garden journey. So I'm a Zone 7B garden, and today I'm actually, beyond taking out this grass, I want to show you two other spaces. But the projects that I'm thinking about today are all viewer, subscriber feedback. And it is feedback that has been so valuable as I continue to think and develop my garden. So I want to thank all of you guys for sharing your comments, your words of wisdom. It's been so helpful. So I think the best comment that I got all year was when I was talking about this grass. I have fought with this grass now for 3 years, so it's probably pretty rooted in. And it's beautiful. I love grasses in the garden, and I'm not going to get rid of it. We are going to transplant it. But the reason it's here is to cover a water pump that's in a pretty box. I do need to spray paint this winter black. We had to have it replaced in the spring, and I didn't get around to painting it black. But the advice, the one if you gave me, was to try a small evergreen. And so I've had that in the back of my mind for almost a month now. And I went to one of my local nurseries where I know they get in some small evergreens. I actually have one in my garden, but they didn't have anything yet this season, or they've already sold out. So then I happened to go to Home Depot to pick up some perennials for some of my containers, and they had the perfect option. So this is a Sting Arborvitae. Now right now it looks a little skinny. I've already got 2 of these in my garden and I love it. So let me tell you more about it. So they had just gotten these in. They were literally had just brought the pack of them in off the truck. For some reason, my area gets these a lot. I guess they sell well, and they're perfect for smaller garden spaces. So this one is the Sting. They also have one called Thin Man, and I think this one is a little more narrow. Thin Man is, I think, the one that I have, but I want to give you an idea of the look. So let me show you the tag up close. So this is Sting. It's going to get super skinny and tall. So it's an arborvitae, 15 to 20 feet tall and 1 to 1.5 feet wide. And 6 hours of sun, and does not need pruning. Deer resistance is low. I don't have deer, so that's okay. I can do arborvitaes. Oh, hardiness 3 to 8. So 3 to 8. I think this guy's going to be really nice. It's also going to provide some height in this area to kind of balance the trellis I have right here and the magnolia tree. So I think over time, it'll be a nice spire. I have 2 cypress junipers that are real tall and skinny. So I think this height will be beautiful. It also allows me to pop in some smaller things to soften the edge, whereas it was really hard to do that with this grass. So again, it gets about 1.5 to 2 feet wide, so just a little bit wider, and then it's going to go straight out. If you're looking for skinny evergreens that get tall, you may want to consider the Sting or the Thin Man. Okay, so here is this green tree is my Thin Man. And you can see it's a little bit wider. It's almost probably, what is that, a foot at the middle. And then as you come down to the base, it gets a little bit wider, probably about 2 feet. And so it's going to be just a little fuller than the one that I just purchased. So this would be the Thin Man. Again, I did find it at just a local big box store. It's going to get up about 10 feet. So I'm really love having this in the garden. I think they make nice accents, and especially if you have a smaller garden space. Okay, so I want to thank whoever the subscriber was that gave me a comment that they recommended an evergreen. I am so excited that I found this one. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had that in my head. So the first thing I'm going to do is tackle this. I do want to save these plumes so that I can dry them. I love to use them in fall arrangements. So I'm probably going to, do have it tied up. I'm probably going to cut it kind of low, save a bunch, and then we'll whack it all the way to the ground and then dig it up. I'm hoping I can dig it up myself. It has been in here a while, so we'll see. I may have to get reinforcement. That is going to open up this space, but that's okay. It's fall, and that is what we're supposed to be doing, is kind of revamping the garden where we want. Now, after I finish this one, I want to show you two other projects that are in the works, and they are all based on your feedback. So stay tuned. I've got two more that are smaller. The projects aren't finished yet, but I want to go ahead and tell you about them. All right, I'm going to get to work. Let's go. So I got it all cut back. I'm not cutting it lower than that right now. I don't want to shock it. When it gets true winter, I will come in and cut it to the ground, but I want to give it a little bit of green so it may even flush back out, depending on how mild the next 2 months are. But you can see why I wanted something right there. But once I spray paint that black, which I'll do after the dahlias die back, we get this sting arborvitae in place, I think it'll be great. Now, the issue I'm going to have to dig twice. So as you can see, the grass is not planted in line. It's not in line with the water container. So I am going to have to plant it a little bit over. But let's try to see if I can dig this guy out. If not, I'm going to wait and get some help, and then we'll get this planted. Okay, well, we got him all planted. For some reason, my camera totally just shut off and did not record me planting it, but I added biotone. I had to dig, pretty deep. I planted it a little couple inches above this natural ground because I'm going to come in with some Land and Sea to really make sure it gets started strong, because this soil, it has not really been added compost or anything recently. Then we are going to be mulching this whole strip as soon as I take all the annuals out. Probably sometime in October, I'll come through and mulch. But I am going to go ahead and add Land and Sea today. I'm also going to put a slow drip hose on this. The root ball was totally fine and not dried out, but the ground is just really dry. So we have a main water line that runs, of course, from this contraption. So we'll get drip added to this guy, but I will add a slow water hose today, just on a trickle for maybe 30 minutes to just make sure the ground gets really saturated so it doesn't suck all the moisture from the roots. And then we're going to add some Land and Sea. I am going to get my husband to help dig a hole for this grass, and I may actually try to divide it. So it's quite a beast. You can divide grasses, and since we had to dig it up, it'd be a great time to do that. All right, so now I want to show you the two other projects that are in the works, but they are due to your input. I wanted to show them to you because they're in the beginning phases. I also wanted to show them to you. I'm not sure if I'll video when the work is done because I am going to get some help. And two, I just want to thank you. Thank you for watching my channel, and thank you for subscribing and for commenting. It does mean a lot, and I do read every single one of them, and I try to respond. All right, let's take a walk through the garden, which is looking beautiful this time of year. So the first project is right here in the main garden. You can see the patio, but back here I had this limelight, and she's been here for 4 years. She is huge. You can see her trunks and the limbs look really sturdy. She's really healthy, but she flops so bad every year. She covers up the quickfire. She covers up the Rose of Sharon. She's got so much room, you can see down there, but she flops. Now, I think some of it is she is getting too shaded. Once the stalks come up, the bloom stalks, I think she's getting a little too shaded. So after much debate, I usually tie her up every year. I struggle. I get so frustrated. After much thought and debate and asking you guys, everyone said, if you're not happy, take her out. So that's what I'm going to do. But the great news is I'm going to get to save her, hopefully, if she survives. That's the goal. So the good news about the sad news of taking out this beautiful plant is that I have some other plants that I need to transfer to someone else, and my sweet neighbor wants to start a garden bed where she has some, I call them vintage peonies. They've been there for 30 to 40 years, and they make a little border. There used to be a garden up there. So I'm going to be having my guy move some of these large specimens to her garden, which is actually right off my garden. It'll be an extension, so I will still get to see it. The beauty is this is an informal, open area where if this guy flops, it's okay. I'm hoping I can prune it and trim out some of the heavy weight so that maybe it stands up taller. The other news is it's in full sun, 360 all the way around. So I really think this limelight is going to be spectacular, and I'll be able to actually see it from my garden. So thank you for agreeing with me that if it's just not working, don't keep fighting it. And I think what really helped make my decision is that I was able to give it to my neighbor and help her build this new garden space. So my second project that's in the works, we'll get it done before winter, is this shade garden expansion project. So I walked you guys through, there were 3 videos. If you haven't seen them, I expanded the shade garden this summer and I love it. I'm enjoying it. I've got hydrangeas planted. I've planted some grasses, some ground cover. I'm gonna fill this area with daffodils in November, but many of you commented that the path just ends. Now, I love this little vignette that I created. However, many of you mentioned that I should take the path through the driveway so that you could enter it one way and come out. You could also come through and come all the way out. Now, There's two thoughts with that. One is the magic of staying in a space and enjoying it. And I know lots of formal gardens have tucked away areas where you have to go back through. Going back through forces you to kind of enjoy the space. But I also get the idea of being able to come out of it and see the plants that are all around and making this entire area part of the garden. Because really, this kind of corner I almost ignore on the other side of the tree. So based on your opinions, I checked in with my mom multiple times. She actually came out to the garden and thought about it, sent me an email with her ideas. And there's a third reason I am actually going to extend this path out. I'm hoping to get it done before winter. We'll see. But I did find some bricks on Facebook Marketplace. I got almost 50 bricks, which is plenty to finish this path for $10. So that was kind of like a light bulb moment. Okay, you need to do this project. The second reason is I have a plant that I need to move and it's in the way. So one of the reasons I didn't want to extend the path is because I had a plant that is very special. So let me walk you around and show you from the other perspective. Okay, so now I'm out on the driveway and you can see the garden there. And if we get way up, you can see the garden path. There's the bench at the holly tree. So where this huge planter is where I would have to move that planter, which is totally fine. I can actually move it back over here is where it used to be. I can scoot the containers down. That's not a problem. It's just a container and the plants in it are just annuals. So behind that is where the bench is and the path kind of ends. Well, the reason I didn't extend it is if you look right here, I have a little hydrangea. So this is a limelight. And this was a plant that was from my mom's house. My mom had had this in her garden for a very long time. It was huge. It was easily seven feet tall. It just bloomed and bloomed. It was beautiful. So it is in its third year in my garden, and you can see it's just not, it just has not recovered. So when we moved it, we had cut it back. And I think, to be honest, we cut it back too far. It was ginormous, the root ball. I thought my husband was just going to, he was going to never speak to me again after trying to get this out. We had to load it, lift it, and put it in the back of our car. It was a labor of love, and I really wanted it, but it just has not done great. And even if it was in full sun, I just don't think it would have recovered. You can see the original stems that are not, of course, getting any new growth because the new growth comes from the base, but they don't look healthy. You can see how kind of dead they are. I think the plant is just hanging on for dear life. And I appreciate it. I wish it had worked, but sometimes you just got to let things go, just like you do in life, and move on. So my mom said, take it out. It's not working. It's okay. And what we can do is, I don't know that the path is going to be as wide. I'm going to see. Once I take this hydrangea out, move the planter, the only thing else really I need to move is this grass that is not attractive. That one needs to be cut back and go anyway. And I may have to scoot this little guy over. So what I'm gonna do in the next couple weeks is I'm gonna take out the plants, I'm gonna get it prepped, and then as soon as I finish my other projects, this will be last on the list for this fall, before winter, we will come in and lay the bricks, put down some landscape fabric, and get the gravel delivered. All right, so those are the 3 projects that I am so excited to get done before winter, and they were all based on your feedback. So if you're new to the channel, take a minute to click subscribe. I would love to have you follow along my garden journey, and I would really value your comments, and I know others in the group really get a lot from each other's comments and ideas. It's also fun to hear what you're doing in your garden during this season of autumn before winter to refresh or bring a space to life. So I've got one project checked off, finding that sting arborvitae was such a great find. I almost want to go back and get another one to pop in the garden somewhere. So remember, the sting is the really skinny one, and then there's a thin man that you can also get. It's a little fatter, and typically Home Depot has them. They're not very expensive. So consider those for your garden space. I need to go get that grass planted, so I'm going to do that. And I've got to take out those 2 limelights in the next week or so. And then over the next month, probably mid to late October, we'll be finishing up those 2 spaces. So I will be bringing you along to show you the progress. I'm excited about this path. It took me a while to get there. I kind of had my mind set the way it was, but I think sometimes opening up your mind to new ideas, thinking about things differently, can make something really beautiful and special. So that's going to do it for today. I'm going to go get that shovel and try to get that big grass in the ground. I may even try to divide it. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.